So I'm gonna show you some tips and just little tweaks that you can do to help make this exercise a little bit more effective and intense. One of my biggest philosophies is that your contraction, the squeeze, is only as good as your extension, which is the elongation. And I think that there are some exercises that it's real easy to just focus on the contraction, like bicep curls. People only think that the exercise is in the squeeze. They don't think about the elongation of the bicep muscle. But if you go slow and controlled and you really think about stretching that muscle, when you go to squeeze it, it makes it a lot harder, a lot more intense, and a lot more effective. And the same is true for hip thrusters. So with hip thrusters, the squeeze is at the top when your hips are up. The elongation of the glute muscle is when you're bringing your hips down. And I notice a lot of times people will just shortchange that downward motion of the hips. So they'll just kind of like mindlessly like almost skip through it. They're only going down so that they can go back up. But you go down and you really focus on bringing your hips way down to really elongate those glute muscles so that when you go up, you can squeeze. So it's really just being mindful of the downward motion and the stretch in your hips. So there's a couple of different things that you can do. You want your shoulder blades on the bench. You don't want your whole back on the bench. And you want your chin down, okay? It's a little too high. So I'm starting, my hips are really, really low. A lot of times people won't bring their hips low enough to get a really good, effective quality squeeze. So, okay, I'm just positioning the barbell, okay? So slow, 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 and pop it up. Also at the top, make sure you don't bounce at the top. I did notice there was some bouncing going on. You want to squeeze, slow, 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 hold. Don't let it bounce. That means, the bounce means that there's momentum there. See how low I'm dropping my butt almost to the ground? Up. You can count 1, 2, 3. You want to feel an arch in your back and then just a real big drop. Hold. Hold for about 2 seconds at the top. Drive into your heels at the bottom. You should be able to lift your feet. You don't want to lift your toes, but you should be able to. Slow, slow, hold. So give those little tweaks a try. Really mindfully connecting with the drop in your hips, counting 1, 2, 3, popping up, but squeezing so hard that you don't bounce, and then holding for a few seconds at the top. You may need to drop weight, and if you do, that's a good sign that you're doing it right.